Greetings, people of Earth. Welcome back. My name is Jax, and today, let me just get you seated. Okay. Today it's kind of a part two because I recently did a video about, when you have a really hard day or a really rough day, and sort of what you can do and that kind of thing. And this is, I think I'm basically going to call this like day ruined and how to fix it. And these are just like little tips and tricks that I have come up with throughout the years of how to not take things super seriously and not let the little things like ruin your day. And the inspiration for this was, I will tell you a story about what happened this morning. So this morning, I went to the gym, a really good workout. I woke up earlier than I would have liked, but just went to the gym, whatever. Had a great workout, good people there, no problems. I then went grocery shopping, and one of the things I like to do, and it's not really like a cheat day thing, but it's like I like getting like additional protein in, and I don't do this all the time, but I'll buy like a thing of 12 deviled eggs or like halves of deviled eggs. So I guess it's like 6 eggs. And I'll just eat it eat them all on the car ride home. This is so stupid. I made a turn that was a little too quick, and all of the deviled eggs fell into like the middle part of my car, and just like exploded. Like they were freaking everywhere. And I just like, the reason I'm talking about this is because I thought that I had a really good reaction to this because I saw just the absolute sheer horror of deviled eggs like completely covering my console and like all of the like the shifter and everything. And I just started laughing. Like I was just like, oh, yeah. Like for a second I was just like, yep. And then I started laughing and I was just like, oh my gosh, this is my life. And I did this to myself. And I'm just like really proud of like the way I kind of reacted to it, because I think in the past this would have ruined my day and it would have made me really upset. It's like, now I gotta clean everything and it's gonna smell like egg for weeks and I would just be so upset. But it could have been worse. And so that's one of the first tips, is you can always imagine a scenario that is far worse than what you're going through. This helps me a lot because I said to myself, like I've cleaned it basically now. And I'm pretty confident in my cleaning abilities, but I was just like, you know what? I felt like I could clean it okay, and that was fine, whatever. So I didn't take it seriously. I didn't let it fester, and I used humor, and I just was like, this is a ridiculous situation, whatever. So that was one of the things. Not taking yourself seriously is a great way of not having to deal with like day ruining events. If you're just like, well, it was bound to happen, I'm not gonna let it, ruin the whole day or impact what I'm doing. So that was a good thing. Another thing I told myself is I had actually planned to have my car detailed tomorrow. So I was like, well, this is just the universe telling me that it was time. And so, I looked on the bright side of it all. I was just like, well, I can clean it and then, it'll get detailed and hopefully that will make it perfect. So that was good. And yeah, they were just like, it was really just the not taking it seriously and being able to laugh at yourself. I think that really helped, and just being able to go like, oh, whatever. And it genuinely hasn't ruined my day. It's given me something to talk about. And I think it's just a great example of my ridiculous life. And another thing that I thought about is I thought about the event in the long term. So I think a lot of these like day ruining events happen to us, and we are really short-sighted, and we're living in the present, and we're like, oh, this is so annoying right now. But we don't look at the long-term thing. And like in this event, there is no long-term. Like it's going to get cleaned. It's not an issue. It's going to be super easy. And even like a week from now, I'm barely going to remember this, except for having made an entire video about it. But you know what I mean? Like if you can look at the long-term repercussions, like say you get cut off in traffic or something like that, if you look at the long-term, it really doesn't exist. It's not really like a factor. You don't have to worry about it. It's not gonna like impact you going forward for 50 years, hopefully. So I just think, oh well, water off a duck's back. It's fine. These things happen. I don't have control over the universe. I don't have control over these little events. And I'm talking about the little events, right? Like I'm not talking about like, oh, my boyfriend cheated on me with my sister. Like I'm not talking about those kinds of events. I'm talking about the little things like you stub your toe, you drop a dozen deviled eggs into your car, you get cut off in traffic. Like those little events that we let sort of fester inside of us, and like little slights, like when people, say something really catty and you let it affect you for the whole day. It's like, oh, how do I do this? Like, how do I get over it? And I think not taking yourself seriously, looking at the long-term repercussions. Is this really going to affect me 5 years from now? Will I care? Or even 20 years from now, will I even be here? Will I care? Probably not. And then just realizing that it's such a small part of your day, and that having it define your whole day and be like, oh yeah, this day was just awful. That's where the problem lies. And I think a lot of us tend to have like a bad event happen in the day, and then everything bad after that, or negative, we sort of fixate on. So like, maybe in another life, I dropped these deviled eggs into my car, and then I got cut off in traffic, and then my dog got sick and had to go to the vet, and like it just compounds, and you're like, oh, this day was just awful. But you are doing that. You are, combining all of these events and just saying, oh, this is such an awful day. When in reality, there were lots of things during that day that you enjoyed. There were lots of things that you liked to do. There were things that went your way and just went good. But you're choosing to sort of fixate on the bad. I have a friend, and whenever she is sick, she always tells me, she's like, yeah, day 14 of being sick. And I'm like, why do you fixate so hard on it? Why do you fixate and tell yourself like, oh yeah, I've been sick for 2 weeks? Why don't you just like focus on getting better and not, start counting? Like at that point, it's almost like a prestige thing where she's like, oh yeah, I've been sick for 2 weeks. Like, oh, day 25 of feeling like garbage. I'm like, well, why would you compound that? You're making it into this bigger thing in your head, when in reality, you should just focus on the good and not be fixating on the negative. So I think we do have a problem, a lot of us anyway, I am particular, in fixating on the bad, when in reality, you could probably fixate on the good and you would have a much better perspective. But I guess that's a little bit of like optimism versus pessimism. But I firmly believe that you can change your outlook if you want to. And I think the problem is a lot of pessimists just don't want to change their thinking. Because it is relative, the glass is both half empty and half full. You get to choose how you look at it. And I firmly believe that whole like optimism, pessimism thing isn't like genetic. You're not born with it. And it can be changed. I have known optimists who have become pessimists because of like events or what they've sort of thought in their internal monologue. And so like, it's definitely not the perspective that you have to embrace. And we know that optimism, like the people with optimism, live longer. So, that's my 2 cents. I thought I'd share that little story with you and just say, don't let the little things ruin your day, because you only have a certain amount of these days and you have to enjoy them. That's kind of the whole point. So, thank you for listening. I hope you have an amazing day. I hope you don't let the little things get to you, or the little events ruin anything for you. So that is that. And as always, I will talk to you guys tomorrow.